Hi and welcome to Love Doing Yoga on this Wednesday evening. Hope you've had a lovely day. And our theme today is about being grounded. So really, someone who's grounded is calm and in control of their emotions. So we'll dip in and out of that as we go through the practice today. As ever, listen to your body, honor it, only do what feels right for you today. And let us begin by lying down. Finding yourself a nice, comfortable position on your mat. As you just check in with yourself and be in the present moment. Letting go of your day, letting go of everything that's going on in your life at the moment, putting to one side your roles and responsibilities and to-do list, and spending the next hour just being in the present, uniting the mind and the body through your breath. And just beginning to be aware of the ground beneath you. And how connected you are with that ground. The security it gives you, holding you here. The absolute confidence you have in the ground's ability to hold you still in total security. Just think about allowing your shoulders to rest down into the ground so your shoulder blades are nice and flat against the mat. The back of your pelvis also a nice connection point with the ground. The backs of your calves and your heels. Just being aware of that connection between you, your body, and the ground. Noticing your arms and how they relate to the ground, and the back of your head. And just take a moment or two to enjoy this feeling as you begin to notice your breath. And your breath can be such a great tool for grounding. If we think about our mind as being a little bit like a kite, where it flies here and there. And our breath is like that string that just helps to control the kite, helping to keep it connected to the ground. So letting your attention now go fully to your breath as you inhale through your nose into your belly and exhale through your nose. And counting that inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, pausing, and exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, pausing, and inhale for your own count. And noticing at the top of your inhale and the base of your exhale, that little moment of suspension. You might like to put in a count there of maybe 2. And continuing to count your breath, see, can you begin to make that exhale just a little longer than your inhale. Noticing how your body's connection with the ground grows a little deeper with your exhale. And this counting of the breath, personally, I find to be a really useful tool if I'm just getting a little worried about something or a little bit nervous about something that's coming up. I just let my attention go to my breath and I count my breath. And it just helps to ground me, calm me down, and help me to just be in control of my own emotions. So let's take 2 more breaths here like this. And then bending the knees and just hugging those knees into the chest. Take a little moment here to ease out the spine. As I am not sure who's with us tonight. Alan, did you manage to see? I think Maureen is with us. Maureen, well, who got her hair done today. Lucky Maureen. I have to wait till next week. And I think there's a few more with us live, and of course any of you who are watching us on catch up. It's great to have you here with us today. And let's just from here roll over onto your side and come onto all fours just for a moment. With your right knee, bringing it in between your 2 hands, come down onto your right cheek, letting that left leg come out behind you, and then just lie your right shoulder down on the mat. So you're keeping your left knee up high and your right knee up high and your left leg out long. And then putting your left palm on top of your right palm, we're just going to do a nice little shoulder exercise here. I'm sure some of you have done this with me before, where we very, very slowly move this left hand around like it's an arm of a clock. And let it come all the way around. And as it comes over your head, just turning the palm to face downwards and allowing your body to roll over so you're onto both of your shoulder blades until your hand comes in the exact opposite point of where it started. So like you're going from 9 till 3 or 3 till 9, depending on what way you're looking at it. And then very, very slowly, just bringing that arm all the way back as you rise up to stack one shoulder on top of the other and bring the hand back to its starting position. Let's do that 2 more times and really focus in on your left shoulder as you nice and slowly help it to have its full rotation here. And bringing it all the way back. And one more time on this side. Really enjoying the process of this movement. Enjoying your connection with the ground and the movement of your arm and your shoulder. And bringing it all the way back to the starting point, and let's just come up here and take that to the other side. So the left knee coming into the center of your two hands, coming down onto that left cheek, keeping the left knee up high, the right leg out long, and coming down onto that left shoulder. So the right palm is now on top of that left palm. And let's once again just draw a half circle with the arm, allowing the body to open out as you bring it all the way to halfway round. And then drawing it the whole way back to its starting point, and just doing that 2 more times, nice and slowly. Maybe you notice that this side feels a little different, and that's perfectly normal. And one last time, bringing it all the way around. And all the way back. Good. And from here, just pushing up and coming to sit on the long side of the mat with your feet out, open to the full width of the mat. And with your hands behind you, just let your hips, let your knees fall, and let your left hip and cheek come up away from the mat and over to the other side, just so you're starting to get the hips working, get a little bit of spinal movement, and just enjoying the feel of that, waking up the hips. And then coming to stillness, and coming around to sit on your mat for a little while. So you might want to get a block that you sit on. If you're on a block, have your seat bones on the edge of it. If you're on the floor, just check in with your seat bones. You want to try and get equal weight on both seat bones. Sitting up nice and tall, so thinking about those ears over the shoulders and shoulders over the hips. Let's take a breath here. And continuing with our shoulder theme, let's just open the arms out into a T. And turning that right palm upwards and the left palm downwards. Just switch them. So like we're doing a little twist in opposite directions with those arms. So your arm is getting its full twist and your shoulder is rolling forward and rolling back and rolling forward and back on each side. And again, just enjoying this movement, allowing it to do its work in loosening up your shoulders. And when next your right palm is facing upwards, just bending that elbow, bringing the hand behind your head. It doesn't have to touch your head, just bring it behind your head. And with your left hand, bring it up to point your fingers up towards your right shoulder blade. So this is what you will be like from behind. And then bringing the arms out, changing the twist, and bringing it in the opposite direction. And again. And again. And then keeping that right hand up there, where it is, you can let that left hand come down beside your hip here on the mat. And just allow the head to fall over so the left ear is falling towards that left shoulder. Enjoying a nice stretch in the neck here. If you find that a little intense, you can take the right arm down. But if you want to extend the stretch a little bit more, that right hand up pointing towards the left shoulder just gives you a little bit of an extra stretch. And then just gently nod the head up and down from this angle, really feeling a nice stretch on the neck. It really helps to stretch from really the whole half of your neck, whole outside half of your neck. This movement. And then coming up straight, let's just take that to the other side. So the left hand coming up to point towards that right shoulder, allowing that right ear to drop down towards the right shoulder. And again, just having a nice slow nod to allow that neck to stretch out. And coming to stillness, coming to sit up nice and tall. Again, thinking about finding length in the spine. Check in with your breath. Practice that grounding breath. And we always call yoga practice, because really what we're practicing on the mat, particularly around mindfulness and the breath, is just helping us to be able to bring it off the mat and use it when we need it most, because we've practiced it on the mat. That's the theory. So from here, let's just take that right arm and bring it up past the ear and find a nice stretch here, just allowing the whole right side of that rib cage to open up and stretch. And then let's take that to the other side. Really letting the rib cage open out. And coming back to center once again, taking a breath, and this time notice as you inhale, just notice the whole roundness of your body expand with the inhale and contract with the exhale. So not just the front of your body, but also the back of your rib cage. Becoming aware of the whole movement of your body with the breath. Thinking about taking a little twist to the right. Let's just set it up mentally. First, we're going to turn from our core, from our belly button towards the right. You might want to just let your left hand rest on that right leg, as you allow the spine to twist and rotate so that your chest is facing the top of the mat. Keeping that right shoulder soft. One more breath here. And coming back to the center, take a breath. And let's just do the same thing to the left. Good. One more breath here. And come back to the center and let it settle. If you've got a block, just pop it out of the way as we come to sit on the mat with our legs out long. And I know this can be quite challenging for people, so have a little bend in the knees if that helps. But think about wherever you are, wherever your legs are in this pose, you want to have equal weight on both seat bones and a nice long spine with those ears still over the shoulders, shoulders over the hips. Letting the hands come down by your hips and your toes pointing upwards towards the sky. Let's take 3 breaths here. Being very aware of our connection with the ground. Good. And if your legs are out straight, just bend them a little bit, because we're going to come into a forward fold. Remember, we're folding from the hips here, allowing the chest to move towards the thighs, keeping that spine nice and long, toes still pointing up to the ceiling. And then if you wish from here, you can begin to let the legs open out a little bit as you come a little bit deeper into your forward fold. I sometimes find it's better for me to have my hands back nearer to my knees as I come into a forward fold here. If I bring my arms forward, sometimes it encourages my upper back to round, which I don't want to do. So maybe you might find it a little bit easier to keep the length in the spine if you have your hands either side of your knees. Recruiting the breath here to help you, taking an inhale, finding length in the spine, and as you exhale, going a little deeper into that bend. Good. And then making your way back to sit up tall. Bending those knees, just let the toes point to the outside edge of the mat. And we're going to just hoosh ourselves forward into a squat. So if your feet won't come flat on the mat here, that's no problem. Be up on your toes, on your heels. Let the hands help you find some balance if you wish. So working with your body here, but what we do want to do is to find length in the spine. So thinking about the spine really opening out here from the tailbone all the way through to the crown of the head. Good. Let's take 2 more breaths. And letting the hands come down onto the mat. We're going to make our way up into a forward fold. So just starting to lift the hips and straighten the legs, turning those feet to face towards the front as you come into your version of forward fold. So have your knees as bent as they need to be for you. Just enjoying the stretch here. And then wherever you are in this, heel toe the feet together so the toes touch and the heels are just a little bit apart.
And bend the knees, letting the hips come down as we lift the torso up into a chair pose, raising up the arms. Good. Let's take 3 breaths here. You might want to use your breath to help you here. As you exhale, lift the pelvic floor, draw the belly button in and up. And 1 more breath. And then straightening those legs, letting the arms come down by your side. As you really think about finding length in the spine here, like you've got a cord coming out from the top of your head, the crown of your head, that's just helping to open you out, and you've got a cord connected from the ground to your tailbone. So you're really allowing your whole spine to open up, each vertebrae finding space. 1 more breath here. Good, softening the pose. And let's just step it to the long side of the mat, opening the legs out here, nice and wide as is comfortable for you. And once again, we're going to bend from the hips. So thinking about closing this crease here and allowing the chest to come forward, keeping length in the spine. As you come all the way forward, letting the hands come down onto the mat. And let's just tune into the breath here once again. As you inhale, finding that length and space in the spine. As you exhale, taking that forward fold a little bit deeper. Have a bend in the knees as much as you need to. Good, 1 more breath. And just coming up slightly so your arms are straight, but your hands are still on the ground. Let's just swivel on this right leg to turn the right toes to the front and turn those left toes inwards slightly so they're pointing towards that top left-hand corner of the mat. Good. And from here, we're going to come into triangle. You might prefer to bend that right knee fully, putting the elbow on and just point the hand up. Or you might like to have that knee bent and allow the arm to point downwards. Or you might want to do the whole thing with your legs straight, always having a micro bend in that knee as you come into your nice extended triangle. Allowing the gaze to look upwards towards the ceiling. Wherever you are in this pose, we want to have the shoulders stacked on top of each other. Putting a little bit of weight into the outside edge of that back foot. And allowing the whole front of your chest to look outwards. All pointing in the one direction. And drawing that left hand down, let's just turn both feet back to the center, both hands in the middle, as we come forward once again into a forward fold. Good, 1 more breath here. And walking the hands out, allowing the arms to come straight as we just take our triangle to the other side. So turning that left foot towards the back of the mat, turning the right foot inwards, working with your version, so with your knee bent maybe, arm resting on the thigh,
or hands pointing down, or maybe with the legs straight. And turning your gaze to the ceiling. Let your attention go to the breath. And begin to become very aware of your connection of your feet with the ground. Good. And once again, bringing that right hand down, turning both feet to face towards the front, bending the knees, heel toe, those feet together till they are hip width apart, and bend the knees, coming all the way up to stand. Good. Bringing those hands into prayer. And tuning into your breath here. Good. And from here, let's just take it up to the top of the mat. Raising the arms up and sweeping them out to the side as we come forward into a forward fold, letting the hands come down onto the mat and just stepping the feet back to come into our downward dog. Hopefully your legs are well warmed up at this stage, but do still pedal your way into your dog so your legs aren't taking too much of a strain. Pushing the hips back towards the back of the mat, gazing towards your belly button. We're going to stay here for 3 breaths, becoming really aware again of your connection with the ground, your hands and your feet securely on the ground. And then bending those knees, coming down onto all fours, letting the feet open out behind you and drawing that right knee, this time up to your right wrist. Let the right foot cross in front of that left knee, stepping the left leg back and lower yourself down to have a nice rest in this pigeon pose, maybe coming all the way down onto your forehead. Enjoying this stretch, allowing the stretch to do its job, just easing out your legs, having a nice stretch along the back of your glutes and your hamstring. Two more breaths here. And then just drawing yourself up as we take that over to the other side. So left knee up to the left wrist, walking that left foot across in front of the right knee, letting the right leg come out long and lowering yourself down onto the mat. Enjoying your connection with the ground here. Leaving the pose alone to do its work.
Taking 3 more breaths. And then just making your way up to sit, bending those knees, just being aware of your seat bones and having equal weight on both seat bones as you just come forward to hold on to your toes. So you might prefer to just hold on to your big toe or all of your toes, whatever feels right for you. We're going to come into a balance here on our seat bones, so you might like to just walk the heels in a little bit closer as you take a slight tilt back on the seat bones, and then begin to open those legs out to wherever they'll go. So this is not about who can open it up the widest or the straightest or anything like that. You find what works for you in this pose, trying to find a balance. And when you're balanced, find a little gaze point, soften your gaze, and then soften your body, softening the shoulders, softening the jaw, lengthening the spine, enjoying the pose. Good, and then drawing those feet together, again as much as is comfortable, with your knees as bent as they need to be, listening to your body. Taking 2 more breaths here. And then bending the knees, letting the heels come down onto the mat, and just having a little hug here of your shins. Letting the spine round. Good, 1 more breath. And coming to sit up tall, let that left leg come out long. Stepping the right foot across, we're going to take a little twist here. So bringing the left elbow to the back of that right leg, letting the right hand come behind you as you take a twist, and just let that leg and arm act as a little lever here to help you. And as you do this, notice how it helps you to get more of a stretch, like we did in that pigeon pose, up along the back of your glute and the outside edge of that right leg. Good, 1 more breath here. And coming back to the center, let's just take that over to the other side. Again, using that leg as a lever, keeping those right toes pointing up towards the ceiling as you enjoy this nice twist. Just letting the spine rotate. One more breath here. And coming all the way back to center with the legs out long. And let's just swivel around to lie down on your belly. Let your arms come out nice and long and your forehead come onto the mat for a lovely full body stretch. Good. One more breath here. Enjoying your connection with the ground. Bringing your arms now down by your side. And we're going to just peel our forehead and chest away from the mat. You can let your arms just rise up slightly as you lift your forehead and chest away from the mat. Keep gazing at the mat so that the neck is nice and straight. The spine is straight all the way. And lowering the forehead. And once again, lifting up. Good. And drawing down. And if you want to challenge yourself a little bit here, you can bend both of your knees and hold on to your ankles. Again, lifting the chest away, and if you want, raising those thighs up off the mat. And then lower everything down. So if that's really challenging, just lifting the chest is fantastic into your cobra. And once again, lifting away from the mat. And lowering down. Good. Let the legs come out long. Bringing the hands either side of the chest now. We're going to push ourselves, our body away from the mat. Continuing to push it as you lift the whole body off the mat and lift the knees up so you're on your feet, the back of your feet, the tops of your feet, and your hands for an up dog. And bending those knees, let them come onto the mat and just walk them in so that you're on all fours. Well done. And from here, let's do a few little cat-cows for the spine. So rounding through tailbone to crown of head for your cat. And taking it all in the opposite direction for your cow. And just connecting with your breath here as you maybe inhale for your cow and exhale for your cat. Once more. And then coming to stillness here and letting the hips come back to the heels as you raise the body up and then come up onto your knees with your hands, sorry, my knees are cracking on the mat, with your hands on your hips. We're going to draw a little arc with our nose. So really listen to your body here as you come into a nice back bend, like a half camel pose. Enjoying the whole front of your body being open and stretching. And coming back to your upright position. Down onto all fours, let's just swing around and come onto your back. Lying out nice and long here, bringing the arms behind you for a lovely full body stretch on your back. And let those arms come down by your sides, just
shimmy them in underneath your hips, drawing the elbows inwards. We're going to lift the top of the body, the top of the chest up away from the mat, and just let the head look behind you for a fish pose. And then lowering yourself again down onto the mat. And bending those knees, taking the hands out from under your hips as we lift up into a bridge. So just peeling the spine away from the mat. Enjoying this nice bridge pose here. Pressing your feet into the mat, thinking about drawing your heels in towards your shoulder blades. Not actually moving them, but just that feeling of drawing the heels backwards towards your shoulder blades to take a bit of the pressure. We don't want to be squeezing the glutes really hard here. And then gently lowering yourself back down onto the mat and hugging those knees into the chest. And we're going to do a little bit of upside down work here. So you've got choices. You can keep your back flat on the mat and let your feet come up over your, well, not over your head, but straight up in the air with the soles of your feet facing the ceiling. So lying like this, or if you prefer to come up into a shoulder stand, bend your knees as you just lift yourself up and support yourself with your elbows coming straight out from straight down towards the top of the mat. And with your legs up in the air, whatever is happening to your back, whether it's flat on the mat or you're up in a shoulder stand, just allow the legs to open out. And then draw them back together. And again, opening them out and drawing them back together. And if you're up in your shoulder stand, you might want to let your feet come behind your head for a plow pose. And then bring them back up. And if you're in your shoulder stand, bend your knees and just lower your back down onto the mat. And let the legs come straight up. And then let the arms come up so your palms are facing the ceiling as well as the soles of your feet. Tune into your shoulder blades here. Allow them to be nice and flat against the mat. And let's take 3 more breaths here. And then bending your knees, hugging your knees into your chest, taking a little bit of movement here to ease out the spine. And then when you're ready, letting those legs come out nice and long as we prepare for Shavasana. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that practice and that you will join us again soon. We'll be back here again live on Friday at 6. And of course you can catch up anytime that suits you. So I will bid you a namaste for now, as you just totally let go. Just allowing yourself to be held by the ground. Enjoying that feeling of security. Releasing any tension in your toes. Releasing the soles of your feet on the tops of your feet. Releasing your ankles and your heels. Your shins and your calves. Releasing your knees, front and back. And your thighs, front and back. The whole of your legs, just letting them go. Letting go your glutes and your whole pelvic area. Your belly and the small of your back. Your rib cage, front and back. Your shoulder blades, chest, shoulders, your armpits and upper arms, your elbows and forearms, releasing your wrists, the backs of your hands, the palms of your hands and your fingers. Releasing the back of your head, the crown of your head, your forehead, eyebrows, eyes, cheeks, jaws, chin, lips, and tongue. The whole of your body, just let it go. Taking a little time here for gratitude for all that you have. Gratitude for your body. Gratitude for your breath. And gratitude for your mind. Gratitude to yourself. And gratitude for everything that's right in your life today. And just checking in with your breath, counting that inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, pausing, and exhale, counting. And with that nice connection with your breath, allow that connection to deepen, to connect with your inner self, your true nature. And imagine you're walking through a lovely forest, noticing the smells, the sounds, the textures, the temperature. And as you walk through the forest, you see a little opening and you hear a brook nearby babbling. You can hear the birds singing. Find a nice place here to rest and enjoy some time here in the company of yourself.